You gotta hunt big bucks to kill big bucks. That might sound a little weird and kind of like common sense, but hear me out. Most people tend to start, gravitating towards places where they see lots of deer. Your average person does. They go to food sources, they go to, high concentrations of deer, and that's just not the kind of places you shoot mature bucks. At least not where I'm from. Here in southeast Wisconsin, in these swamps and these marshes, it can be really hard to get onto big bucks. They're there. Put cameras out, you see them. You drive around at night, they walk in front of your car. They're here. I've had people, local people here tell me, "What are you doing, Dan? You can't kill these big bucks on public land. There are no bucks like that on public land." Well, I got news for you, there are. It's just a matter of getting them in that short little window of daylight movement under all this pressure. These swamps and these marshes are so intense that these deer can live to the age. But the hunting pressure is to a point that it narrows them down into little tight areas and spots. And they're so paranoid of people that when you move in, they move out. So it's a matter of being mobile and hitting these spots. And doing that, and not going to the cornfield edges, the funnels, 100 yards back from a cornfield thinking you're, back in this stuff. That's going to get you seeing deer. It's not going to get you onto the big bucks. These big bucks here are educated. What educates them is an arrow in the shoulder, an arrow in the neck, a just miss. Most of the time when we get a 6 or 7 year old buck out here, it's got a broadhead in its neck, it's got one in its shoulder, it's got a limp on one side, it's got a pierced ear, the broadhead hole through it. These deer live a rough life and they learn how to get away from you. So it's really about precision moves that might seem haphazard to you. And it might seem like I see a lot less deer than other people. And I do. But I see a lot more of the giants than other people. I think a guy would get pretty good at killing 2-year-olds every year, just about anybody. If he started figuring out those, food situations and, funnels and stuff. But if you want to kill the monsters, if you want to be in the game, you have to hunt like you're hunting for them all the time. Even if you want a 2-year-old. Even if you're like, I would shoot the first buck that walks in. Don't teach yourself bad habits for later on. Hunt mature bucks all the time. If something else comes in and you want to shoot it, go ahead. You'll get your opportunities. But you have to hunt mature bucks all the time to kill any of them. I'll get 2 or 3 chances in a year. I haven't even had my chance yet. So you gotta, if you want to kill them, really commit to hunting them. Even if you're willing to take something lesser, hunt like every deer is a 7.5-year-old paranoid buck that's had a few arrows stuck in them. If you hunt every deer like that, then you're in the game for the giants. I really wanted to go out further, but I really can't walk through this. I'm going to have to set up. There's just too much sign here, and I've already got my scent in here. I'm a little afraid the deer could come from here, and my wind is kind of blowing into there. But I'll just get as high as possible and hope what I can. I have no idea for sure if they're coming from that way. There is a big rub right there. There's a scrape right here. There's traffic going like this. There's a big rub right there with a broken branch. There's a big scrape over here. There's some scrapes over here. And there's just acorns everywhere right here. And there really ain't many acorns in this whole woods other than this. I'd have to think this is a destination. Whether they get here in daylight or not, I have no idea. But I guess we're going to find out. Now I'm here pretty early because I was expecting to walk another mile. I'm only halfway back. And still, this is a trek right here. But I got to give this a shot. Actually, I was going to set up in this tree here. But as I started taking my sticks and stuff apart, I noticed this rub right here. just ripped to pieces by something with enough neck strength to just break those branches off. Then I look at that one too. And there's several in there. There's a big rub over there. This might be where they're coming out, and I see a trail right there. My wind's kind of going like this. If I move over to that tree there, I think I can get my wind to just go a little further over. I can still cover everything. And I think I'm a lot less likely to blow the hunt. They still might wind me, but I think it's a little better. I think this is the area where I'd be shooting them. You know, so I think that's better. I'm just gonna move over a little bit. This is one of those rare occasions where I'm glad I had 5 sticks with me. I carry those 5 sticks on every hunt just in case, but rarely use the 5th one. I needed it here. I need to get as elevated as possible. Wide open forest here. Acorns are dropping all around me, and they're not really dropping good anywhere else around here. This is a rare good patch of acorns. There's, you know, I've seen at least 7 scrapes within 50 yards of me, and probably 20 rubs, and I'd say there's probably a lot more than that, because if I looked harder I'd see them, which tells me there's probably bucks competing for this food source, maybe even racing here to get the acorns, you know. And the acorns are really starting to drop heavy right now, which means they'll want to be here first, get first picks. I don't know how far they're coming from, but I'm hoping to get here in daylight. I'm hoping a shooter does. I mean, I got some downfalls. I got the wind blowing right through here. And I know some of the deer axes from that way, which is one of the reasons I wanted to get up so high. I can actually make some trails out in there through the holes, but there is a tree line coming through over there, coming out of that bedding, and they might drive around that way. I know there's good bedding that way, and they come from over there. I do know some of them come from this way, and based on the sign, I would say some come from this way. So oh! I just got hit in the head by an acorn. I don't know if you caught that. That was a big acorn. That really knocked me one. Got knocked on the noggin by an acorn. I'm gonna get a knot on the head. That really hit me. Holy cow. But as you can see by the way the deer come in here, I don't think you could get a good wind. Really, I don't. It just is what it is. So we'll just see what happens before we move on further back. Well, that's about it. Nothing. Guess I should have kept going back further. But this area I scouted 2 years ago, two springs ago, and this is just loaded with big buck sign. I only hunted it a couple times last year, and I hunted opening day this year, just back there. Actually once last year, once this year, so twice I've only been back here. But I was going to set up over there. When I came in, I saw the sign all coming from over here, and I made an executive decision to try over here, even though it put me right in the bedding area. Bucks are bedding right where the trees stop and the bushes start, and the cattails and stuff. This whole area, in the springtime was beds, and you could see rubs on all those trees. And right now coming in here, you can see the ground is just churned up, and there's trails everywhere through here, and ripped up areas. And I followed a real heavy trail into here that led out of here. And anything that kind of walks into this opening from around here is going to end up in this grassy area within range. It's a good spot to shoot from. Now the tree is a little sketchy. I mean, I'm kind of being blown around 5 sticks high, which I like being up here. It's a little sketchy. There's a little bit of food on this little raised island out of the water, and a lot of good bedding. And it's kind of isolated from everything. The only thing that gives me any kind of little concern probably see some water in the distance. That water is 400 or 500 yards away, and I know that people will go in there and duck on that. And there's a chance that it's probably pretty likely it'd be an open weekend of duck season. That the last couple mornings there were people in there. I don't know if it's going to affect the deer travel over here. Maybe not. Probably should have been here Friday. But we're giving it a shot. If it doesn't pay off, I'll probably back off for a little while and give it another shot, because there's so much sign in here last year and the year before, and you can tell nobody's really hunted in here. So these deer could very well be used to those duck hunters, but in open weekend they might get a little shy for a little while. We'll see. Well, that's about it. No deer. Thought maybe I had one coming. It turned out to be a raccoon. Came down and chewed on my water bottle. I'm on my way back to where I seen that big buck about a week ago. I got the right wind again, and I'm gonna get in there. But I wanted to scout my way in and really look at this side over here, this side hill. And I'm coming through here, and I see this big old pine tree that's broken off on top. And you wonder, what would have killed a pine tree like this? Looks like a healthy pine. And broke it off. Well, here's the culprit right here. A tree stand. A climber tree stand with the blades growing right into the tree is right exactly where the tree broke. Isn't that amazing? I wonder how long that was in there. You can see it's completely grown in. It's probably been around that tree for 30 years. I turned in at those rubs, and I came back and found a real heavy trail leading to those rubs. I'm on that trail, but man, this looks like bedding terrain, and it's not exactly where I jumped that buck. I jumped the buck over there. This trail's leading this way. But the trail's pretty well used here. It's still going. This is all looking like bedding. I don't know how far to go. Obviously, back in the day, somebody hunted here. But before this was public, don't know how far I should go. But I am going to go further than this. I'm going to get to at least where I can get a good shot off before it gets too thick. I did scout this last year, and there were some good looking spots over in here and bedding beyond it. I'm going to think he's coming from that. No way of knowing for sure, but we'll get into something, then we'll set up and see what happens. 200, 250 yards into the buckthorn from those rubs. And I just hit a spot that is all tore up with fresh sign. There's a trail coming in through like that. There's this one. There's this one. And I can see a real heavy one over there. But there really isn't a way to get an arrow to this spot. I'm thinking maybe in this opening up here I could hit these trails. I don't know. It kind of looks like they all kind of come in range of that opening. Doesn't look like they go up into that thick or over into this thick. It seems like once we get into that opening, like I could shoot all these trails. So I'm going to try and slide into that opening. But the wind is coming like this. So it's going to be blowing towards these trails, kind of, depending on where I get. Unless maybe I got into that tree over there, because then it would blow over here, give me a shot over there before they smelled me. I guess we're just going to slide over there and see if there's anything available. Because this looks pretty good in here. All right, I'm set up. All those trails meet right there. I got some trails over here. I got some trails back there. I got some trails over here and here. And I got this wonky ass tree. 3 sticks up. With crazy bark. And I'm running late because it took me so long to get in here and get set up. But if I didn't spook the deer out of here, which doesn't seem like I have, I think we're in a pretty good position. We'll give her a shot. A lot of deer sign here. There were beds right underneath the tree here. A lot of stinging nettle, a lot of jewelweed, a
A lot of buckthorn, no place to really set up, but there are a lot of old setups from like, and I don't mean old like 5-10 years, I mean like 20 years old. Old busted up tree stands from when this used to be private, but since it's grown into a jungle of buckthorn, I don't think anybody hunts in here. Matter of fact, I found this arrow half buried in the ground. Look at this, with this old broadhead on it. Look at that. Anybody remember what kind of broadhead that is? I think they're called satellites. Correct me if I'm wrong. But that's an Easton arrow, it looks like. Aluminum. That's an old arrow. Wonder if that went through a big buck back here. That arrow might have been shot to feed somebody's family back in the 80s or early 90s. Well, that's it. I had one doe sneak in underneath me. I couldn't get the camera turned around. Big old doe, no fawns. Could have shot her. Probably wanted to once she started blowing. But that's it. Nothing else. I'm back in an ocean of cattails, hunting an old familiar buck. This buck's a 10-pointer. He's not an absolute giant, but he's an old buck. He's about the same size as he was last year. He's pretty stealthy, but this is a huge area. It's all open grass, cattails and stuff. But one thing is this area got kind of grown in with like cane type reed. So thick deer can't get through it, so it's kind of isolating them into areas. I do have a camera and a funnel back here, and I got a picture of that buck this morning going this direction, and I think if he's over here, he's going to be bedding over here. And one disappointment is usually this is underwater, and right now it's drier than a cracker fart. So people could get back here, but I don't think anybody's been back here yet. But youth gun season starts this weekend. Pheasant's coming up, and this will just fill up with guys for pheasant. It is a long walk, but these guys will get back here. But now I'm getting close. I've walked about, I don't know, 3/4 of a mile, And now where I'm going is the tip of this island. All these trails converge there and then come out into this stuff. And you see a lot of sign in here, but I think the deer come from further back, right in a good bedding cover in here. And just getting to this point right here, I've been noticing all this browse being eaten. And I look here, and look at this, this rubbing. These branches are all broke on here. And I can see a scrape over there. So there's been a buck working the area. And we got a picture of that big buck this morning coming in here. So we're going to give it a try. But I mean, this is a vast area. I'll have to be off, 50 yards and I'm off. But I think if he's going to come through here, he's going to come right through the tip of that island from my scouting. That's what I believe. And that's where I'm going to head. And see what happens. I don't think I'm going to stay on this trail because I could end up hunting this trail sometime in these trees. And I don't want to really blow this out. So I'm going to hook down there, which works better for me to come in from the tip of that island because then I'll have the wind to my nose. And there'll be one scent trail. I've already got my scent right here, but this does look a little dried up, just a little bit. Like that buck did this a couple weeks ago maybe. But let's hope there's better sign in there. I know that buck came from over there going this way, so that's my guess. Is he bedded somewhere back in there? And hopefully he comes out this way tonight. Okay, I'm set up on 5 sticks up. Right over there is where the trail comes out of the cattails from the bedding islands out there. And that's where all the big rubs are. And there's little patches of bedding brush all the way around us, out in those cattails. And it seems like the big bucks come to this point. They could come anywhere though. But there's a lot of trails coming through here. There's even a bed right there in that dark spot. It looks like it's freshly used. And there's old rubs in it, so it's probably a buck bed. And there's a bed underneath the tree here too. And lots of trails going through here. There's a real heavy main trail going through here like this and out. And there's some big rubs on it over there. So that's within range too. End of my range, but it's in range. Which is kind of why I chose this tree. I can hit that. I can hit over here. I can hit over there. And I can hit the main trail right in front of me. So we'll see what happens. I had a good wind for cover. And then just when I got back here, the wind kind of died. So I did make a little bit of noise getting in here. That grass is pretty noisy. But I don't think it was bad. We'll see if anything shows up. I got a good view. I probably should have brought my binoculars. I can see quite a ways. I might spot a deer in the distance and I won't be able to tell what it is. was cute, but I'm glad they left. It's kind of nerve-wracking having them 5 yards from you.